This world is mine. Do you like what you see?
Welcome to Galactix. It's been a long time, and I'm finally making a video on the arcade Taphouse that has been opened in Astoria, Oregon. And we've been open since January. I was sort of holding off on making a video until we could get our neon sign done, which you've seen. And that was only just a couple months after we opened, but now here we are, late April. I wanted to give you guys a walkthrough tour, show you some of the games we have, talk about some of the different things that we've done. But let's check it out. So I've already shown you the walkthrough. So here at the Entryway, we have a really cool neon sort of sun gradient, and then this is Asteroids, the cocktail table, which is really cool. It actually matches that sort of color, so it's a vector monitor. The entry wall, so here's where our logo is, Galactix, and we also have 3 signs. So this one says Libation Station, and if you follow that, it takes you to the bar. The one behind me is Relief Hatch, which we just went through, but you can see it like goes down and points to the door. So Libation Station is here, right? And it goes around the corner, this is our bar area, but you can see it kind of points right to the bar counter. And then the third one is actually all the way down here, and it's right there. All your base belong to us. Now, we did miss the word R in there for you super nerds. So it was sort of a weird accident, but it's fine. All your base belong to us. So here's the row pinball games. We currently have 11 pinball games, which I'll flip it around and talk more about, but currently we have a pretty good lineup. And then it just kind of keeps going around where we have more arcade games. And then this is the seating area. So I'm going to give you a closer look and talk while we go. All right, so here's our pinball lineup, and if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I've been working like crazy to get these things set up. So Star Wars Episode 1, it's actually one of my original games. If you've watched for a long time, you would have recognized that. I'm a big fan. I do have to swap out the neon on the lightsaber. This is Divas, which I think on the channel I did a new ring kit on this. And this is really WrestleMania, but it's an official Stern back glass Translite, which was only made in limited editions. And then we have Iron Maiden, which is a really fun game. We've got Stranger Things, and this one's a little bit tricked out just because it was actually at my house for a long time. So we have a shaker motor installed, mirrored side blades. We have the UV kit, which is on the sides. And then we have these cool speaker kit LEDs or light kits, which I also did a video on that too. Then we have Deadpool, which is a classic at this point. I mean, what a fun game this is. Seriously, amazing game, Deadpool. And then our latest edition is The Mandalorian. This is the Pro model. We only really get Pros, and that's kind of my thing, but it's not that I'm against anything better. It's just that, hey, price point wise, it's a pretty sweet system. So pretty sweet game. This one's actually a lot of fun. Doctor Who is a classic sci-fi pinball game. I'm sure if you've watched any sci-fi throughout your life, you would have heard of Doctor Who at the minimum. And this is a really fun game. And it's got this elevator, the time expander that comes up 3 levels. It's so fun. And then, of course, Flash Gordon. And what's funny is we put this in here because we had some problems with some of the other games. I mean, we swap out games from time to time. And one of the ones that was in here was Les Schwab, which if you live in the Pacific Northwest, you'll know what Les Schwab is. But it's essentially a local tire company. And I currently have it off the floor because I'm just going through, I'm actually improving it. But, anyway, this game came out. And I think some people were like, oh, Flash Gordon, whatever. Oh man, this game's killing it. People love this game, and it plays so well. Part of the reason it plays so well is because it has, it's just in great shape, like all in all. But Titan Ring Kit, I went through it electronically, changed everything, got it all updated. Jurassic Park, another really fun Stern game. This is an interesting game because while the light show is pretty impressive, it does seem to be on the lower side, almost like the old incandescent games. Of course, now you're seeing the explosions, but compared to some of the other games, it's got like this dimmer play experience. Revenge from Mars, absolutely amazing. You guys know I've done lots of videos on this, trying to get it going. Same thing with Episode 1. So that's all set up. And then Guns N' Roses, if you remember, I did an unboxing of this. This is a very awesome game. I mean, honestly, the only thing I gotta say is that Jersey Jack's really responsive, but the rubbers that they shipped with this thing were falling apart. So had to go through and swap all those out. Pac-Man, this is, of course, a legendary game. We did put a nice LCD in this. This is a Wells Gardner LCD. So that's really a classic monitor manufacturer. But the monitor, we tried to repair it a couple times. It wasn't working. Darius Burst is, this is a really awesome shoot 'em up. It's a 4-player bench style game. You sit down, the whole thing has subwoofers in it. My business partner, who's awesome, he helped reupholster the seat, so that's why it looks so nice. And anyway, this is a fun game. It's so well done. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure you guys have heard of this, but it's cool how it's so immersive, you know? It's so immersive. Now, before I go too far over, I want to pan back and show you guys this side. Our booths are very comfortable and have illuminated tables with an overhead highlight lighting feature, which you can see. And I think it looks really cool. It's definitely a cool place to come and hang out and just chill. So next to Darius, we have the Neo Geo. Now this is one that I just put out after doing a video on this. I went through this entire machine. It was extremely challenging. I'm still waiting on the marquee for Xeno Crisis, but we have Bust a Move, Samurai Showdown, and King of the Monsters. Now I do have other games, but all in all, what a classic. Here's Xeno Crisis. What a classic system. I'm so happy to have this thing working. Plus the new LED kit and the marquee lights. Next to that, we have a pair of San Francisco Rush 2049s, which are extremely fun. These are extremely fun games. And then Hydro Thunder, which is a personal favorite. I did some videos on these as well. In fact, I did videos on like almost every game in here. So these have new subwoofers in the seats, new speakers, fully rebuilt control panels, monitors, everything like that. Silent scope. Jesse helped me fix this monitor, which was hilarious, but this is a crazy game. You have a very cool scope inside, which is kind of hard to see, but yeah, you actually can move that around. It's so awesome. What a fun game. Then we have the Nintendo Red Tent, which is a classic in its own right. This is the Goonies, right, which of course we've talked about, but very appropriate being in Astoria. And then on this side, we have Skate Kid Brothers, which is basically a Super Mario Brother clone. And then over here is really where all the arcade games are. We have One Driver, which this is one of my oldest games. I've had this forever. San Francisco Rush, the Rock Alcatraz edition. I love this game so much. I could sit here and play this game forever. That's how much I love this game. I'm not going to kid you. And I'll just give a quick pan, but here's all the other games. But this is Deathstalker. Did a video on this too, but this is the last Laserdisc game that sort of got scrapped. And then through Galloping Ghost Arcade and Doc Mack, he was able to find the original, I guess, developer, producer, and they sort of reworked it. So you can see there it says Lost Laserdisc Restoration by Galloping Ghost. You can see we got our logo here on the bottom right. It's pretty cool. Not very many cabs made. I went through and modded it, like I think I showed you guys on the channel, but I did new lights. I added a plexiglass cover, thanks to Greg helping me out with that. Definitely a very, very, very unique game. Film noir, choose your own adventure. Lots of great things can be said about this one. Now, RoboCop is one that my hometown arcade had, and I love this game. It doesn't seem to get a lot of love here, to be honest with you, but that's okay. I come and play it, and it's a fun, awesome, old school, you know, not really run and gun, but sort of. And I don't know, I'm a fan of this game. I love it. I love the sound effects, all that stuff. Zaxxon, my friend had this in his basement when I was a kid. We would play this thing for hours. Such a weird game. This joystick I had to go through, you know, rebuild it. So that's all set up. Final Fight, of course, classic beat 'em up. This is the one that was Magic Sword. When I got it, it was Magic Sword and Final Fight. So we split it off. I switched it over, and so Final Fight's its own game. And this is Shadow Dancer, which honestly doesn't get a lot of love. I wish it would get more love, but it's so hard. I can't blame people. It's so difficult, you know? And then this is Guerrilla War, which is such a classic as well. It's got the LS30 joysticks, which are just so cool to play. I mean, what an amazing game. All right, WWF Superstars. When I was a kid, I was traveling cross country, and basically a KOA in Wyoming. We were checking in, and the guy's like, "Oh, does your kid like video games?" I'm like, "Sure do, mister. I sure do." So he takes me to this clubhouse, turns on the power, and boom! Seriously, like 30 arcade games light up, including Superstars. And man, I was there for hours past my bedtime. What a cool game that is. I love Superstars. Gun Force is a Contra clone. Definitely a fun run and gun. I think it's actually really fun. I think it's kind of like they try and make it a mix between like maybe Metal Slug and Contra, but it's an IREM game. And these guys, man, they know how to make games. Like, I mean, as far as like, I don't know if you're familiar with like Robo Kid and like just some of the other random shit that they've done. But they make really fun games. Now, Kid Nicky's sort of on the rarer side. It's not one you see very often, and it's sort of a weird ninja action. I don't know. It's not really a platformer, but it's definitely fun. It's a good time, you know. And this is running a Wells Gardner monitor, similar to Pac-Man. We only have a few of those because they're so expensive, but it's basically a Wells Gardner LCD. You can see how bright it looks. I mean, jeez, it actually looks really good. Over here, we have Virtua Fighter 2, which I know I did a lot of videos on, or at least one. But it's a classic fighting game. This monitor's in awesome shape, you know. And then we've got Street Fighter 2, which again, what an awesome game. And I went through, did a video on this where I went through the whole control panel overlay. So that's all set up. Here's Street Fighter Alpha 2, which is a giant monitor. I mean, this monitor is huge, you know. And also did videos on that where I went through and replaced everything. So just kind of got it all set up. Captain America and the Avengers. It's pretty much, this is our only 4-player beat 'em up. Of course I'd like to have more, but man, they're hard to find, and this is a really good one. I mean, I remember playing this at Abby's Pizza in Grants Pass, Oregon when I was like 12 years old, and just laughing my ass off every time the guys would scream, "I can't move!" You know, hilarious game. Alright, so we also have Combat Tribes, which, you know, I just beat this the other day for the first time. And it's a 3-player beat 'em up. Pretty fun game. Very challenging. It's definitely hard, but what's cool is there's so many moves. You get a lot of moves, man. Like, they definitely went off on that, so that's cool. Caveman Ninja. Now, this game, you know, it's okay. Joe and Mac, they made a 1-up of it somewhat recently. It's okay. I don't know. It's kind of fun to play. It's not like the best in my opinion, but it's okay. Altered Beast, what can I say? This is a freaking classic, man. And like, I went through this whole thing. This is the one that we sent to Ken at I Repair Sega, and he replaced the suicide chip on it, which is something that you have to do. Well, you don't have to do. I guess if it doesn't commit suicide, you don't have to do it. Magic Sword. This was split off of Final Fight. So this is the other one that's running a Wells Gardner. You can really tell the difference on these LCDs when they have a Wells Gardner. I mean, it looks sharp. So this is a fun game. Really pretty much had this on a Super Nintendo when I was a kid. Pit Fighter. Had this on Sega Genesis. But yeah, this is another 3-player. And, you know, did a video on this where we went through the whole control panel and set that up. But yeah, this is a really funny game. This game cracks me up. And then here's one that's kind of special. This is Polybius. Now, Polybius showed up here one day unbeknownst to me. I don't know how it got here. It's definitely a little bit weird. Seems to be turns on by itself, turns off by itself. Not really sure what to say about Polybius, other than you just kind of got to play it, you know, to see what's going on. It's very unusual. All right, let's take a look at the seating area. Oh, right here we have a Space Invaders, of course. We also have a Galaxian, but Galaxian is currently being kind of weird. So here's our seating area and our lounge, you might say. We have fully illuminated tables. You know, quite a good spread. This is our Star Wall design. We really tried to design something straight out of Total Recall. That's kind of what that is. I'll show you guys a better shot. Second, this is the behind the bar. We have our menu there. We have 24 taps. About half hard cider, half beer. We have a couple other random things. The right side monitor up there is all cartoons from the 80s, 90s, you know, so it's quite a bit. It runs full episodes. There's over 1,000 of them. I compiled them over the years. Took me forever. And then this is the 90s, 80s and 90s CGI demo videos. So really unusual. We have some merch up here. And then this is our illuminated bar. Back there's our kitchen. Now this is our pizza monitor. We don't currently have any pizza right now because we actually are closed. But normally we would have pizza here. And this rotates as well. So that's our pizza monitor. And then I'll just kind of pan back and show you guys that Star Wall. So Star Wall, it was something that we were kind of talking about, but we wanted it to be really reminiscent of Total Recall, you know? All right, so now we're basically connecting back to the entryway. We do have a couple of these impulse machines, a love meter and also a lifeline. And then we're back to the entry wall. So there you go. That's the tour of Galactix. Like I said, we do have other games that, you know, we swap out from time to time, but I'm kind of always working on those on weekends. Like it is actually a Sunday right now when I'm filming this, and I worked on some games today. I worked on a bunch of games yesterday, but we have a good selection to swap out from time to time. So don't think that this is our complete setup. In fact, we have a couple other rare games that are just next door that we'll be talking about, but I did want to get this out. It's been too long, and I appreciate everybody's support. I'm just glad we finally opened. We are officially open 7 days a week right now, throughout spring and summer, so the rest of spring and all through summer. So definitely come check us out. We're right downtown Astoria, Oregon, and man, it'd be great to see you guys. So it's Galactix with an X at the end, and we would love to see you aboard. So cheers, having a drink with me here in Galactix. And I just want to talk a little bit about the theme, also some of the audio cues that we have going on. So grab yourself a High C or a Capri Sun or your favorite IPA, whatever works for you. But so basically when we came out to make this place, we wanted to make an immersive sci-fi bar, you know? And it was something that we slowly worked on and, you know, took a lot of design time. We did work with a pretty cool builder out of Portland, but really we had to do quite a bit of just fine-tuning, you know, to get it to where we really want it to be. Now that it's there and it's been operating for a few months, I can say we're really happy with it. Things are moving along. People love it when they come in here. It's definitely been an extremely positive experience. Some of the things that we've aimed for as far as what we wanted people to come here and feel like they're being transported away from their daily lives, you know, out to somewhere else, maybe perhaps to another galaxy, right? And so that's why everything looks like you're on a spaceship. Now, to accompany this, we have recorded 60 audio cues telling a detailed storyline of events, which is something that basically was written. I wrote it along with some input from my business partner, Jeremy, who's amazing. And we were able to come up with this sort of storyline of what the Galactix is and these announcements. So basically every hour another announcement comes across sort of the PA. It's our sound system, right? So normally we're playing tons of vaporwave, chill waves, synth wave, all kinds of cool electronic music that's familiar but a little bit foreign, you know? And then every hour the music goes down and an audio cue plays, and it's going to tell you a story of what is happening, and it addresses the patron as captain. So it's captain.
I know it's a big step, but Barrett will be out of town, and I thought we could see the replicator's factory there without being interrupted. Come link me back, Captain. I'll be waiting.
Some of our guest speakers or guest sort of voice actors include people from Second City when I was doing Second City, but also people I've stayed in touch with. So Nunyub is one of them. Jamie, who's been on Perspective Now with us, and my wife Michelle is on there. My dad, my mother, which is funny, my sister, my wife's sister. So my sister-in-law is also on there. Adam Korlick, who is very cool. He was on there, and Radical Reggie is also a voice. And I don't want to leave anybody out. Oh, Jeremy, my business partner, his wife. That might be it. I feel like that's probably it. So anyway, we all tell this crazy story. There's 60 cues. One plays every hour, and the lights completely dynamically change depending on the type of audio cue it is. It might be an advertisement. It might be something that pushes the story forward. It might be a parking lot enforcement storyline. And anyway, it's all pretty elaborate. So this place has been slowly being built for years at this point. I mean, it's literally taken forever. So thankful to finally have it be done. I also wanted to talk a little bit about just sort of, you know, what it took to design this. We wanted to pay tribute to all of these sci-fi movies, you know, Predator, Tron, Star Wars, Star Trek, Spaceballs, you know, all these things, Blade Runner, Total Recall. Did I say that already? I probably did. Tons and tons of sci-fi movies that we really admire and appreciate, and we wanted to make kind of the ultimate hangout for that sort of sci-fi world, you know. This has been a project that has taken so long. Honestly, it's taken so long, and I'm just glad to finally have it be done and open. I would love for you guys to come check it out and you know, experience it. The other thing that we have here is sort of, you know, you come in, you have hard cider, you have a beer, but you also have these televisions, which I know I talked about, but very, very much reminiscent of 80s, 90s culture. And the reason is because if you're on board a spaceship floating around in space, you know, and you're not around what the past was like, this might be what you want to have on your entertainment deck. You might want to have things that make you think of the way it was as far as like Saturday morning cartoons and you know, pinball games and arcade games, you know. So like that's sort of why that is what it is. So with that said, love to see you guys down here at Galactix. Hit me up if you want to hang out sometime. I'll meet you down here. So until next time, you guys know what you're gonna do. You're gonna keep that shit retro by hanging out at your local neighborhood arcades. Support them all later on.